Hello again. Today we're going to be taking a look at our spring unit, and we're going to be working with veterans. And this is all part of our Constitution and citizenship studies. We've already looked at the United States Constitution, how it was formed. We've worked with the Bill of Rights. And most recently, we've been studying the rights and responsibilities of citizens. One of those things that comes along with being a citizen is to take part in our community, to learn about and work with our veterans. And that's what we're going to focus on. So when you go onto our unit on Google Sites, you're going to take a look up at the top again, and you can see the units that we've already worked with. And then if you see Unit 3 Veterans Project, that's what you want to click on. So we're just going to take a look at the project. Now, this is for the spring, so we will be working on this starting in March. And if you take a look, you'll see the standards that we're working on. This is civics and government. Students understand constitutional and legal rights, civic duties and responsibilities, and the role citizens play in a constitutional democracy by analyzing how people influence the government and work for the common good, including voting, writing to legislatures, performing community service, and engaging in civil disobedience through selecting, planning, and implementing a civic action or service learning project based on school, community, or state asset or need, and analyze the project's effectiveness and civic contribution. That's a lot of words, but what it boils down to this is we are going to focus on the areas you see in bold print: performing community service. We are going to look at service learning, a service learning project based on our school and our community. And we're going to look more closely at our local veterans home here in Machias. So our veterans home has been wonderful in letting us come in and volunteer. And one of the things that we're going to do this spring is we are going to adopt a veteran, and they are going to adopt us. So each one of you will be paired up with a veteran. Now, this is something that we've been working on for a while behind the scenes before I have introduced it to you. And we have done this so that the veterans home and I, as your teacher, can be pairing you up with veterans that we think will be a good fit for both of you. So, why work with our veterans? Well, our veterans have given so much of themselves and their communities. And sometimes when you live in assisted living facilities like the veterans home, you get visitors, but not a lot. And you do get to go out and take part in community events. But this is something that we are going to be doing that involves the, hopefully, formation of a close relationship between our school and the veterans home, and between our students and the veterans that live there. So in the coming weeks, we are going to be serving our veterans. Now, one of the ways that our community serves the veterans is through the veterans luncheons held every week at our local high school. But we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to go visit them. Once you're paired up with a veteran, we are going to be going to visit. You're going to be split up in 2 groups, and you are going to visit your veteran once a week. Group A will go on Tuesdays. Group B will go on Thursdays. Now, every other week, we will have a conferencing session as our class that Friday. And if you take a look on your site, you go down to the Veterans Visit Calendar, and you click on this, you will see your calendar pop up, and you'll see that it starts with March. And you will see on March 1st that Group A will go from 10 to 11, which is our class time. On Thursdays, Group B will go. Now, if you take a look over here on that Friday, we're going to have a group conferencing day, and it's very important that we do it that day because it's our first week meeting with our veterans. Then you will see we go the next week, same schedule every single week, but every other Friday, we're going to have our group conferencing day. So if we go down through April, we see the same schedule with our group conferencing days right in here. Our final one will be on April 29th. And then when we get into May, we're going to be working all through this period. We're going to be working on putting together our interview information, our details, and all our information. We're going to be working on our slides, which I'll get to in just a second. And then our project and presentations are going to be due in terms of our classroom on this day. Then we look at May 13th, and that is going to be our Veterans Luncheon. And that's when we will host our veterans. They're going to come to us, and we're going to have them over for lunch. So that's going to be a great day. We're going to work on decorating our lunchroom up and just making them feel welcome. Now, once we are done looking at the calendar, you're going to see your veteran interview sheet. Now, when we meet our veterans, our first meeting is actually going to be an event at the Veterans Home, and it's going to be a low-key kind of social event. We're going to have refreshments there. We're going to be, we're going to have some different things to do there with our veterans, just as a way to get to know them. And each of you will have know your veteran's name before we go over there. You'll be introduced. And as a group, we're just going to all talk and kind of get to know each other, maybe play a few games with our group, and just kind of break the ice. Then the next visit will be, you're actually going to be paired up, and we will have our parents, a couple of our parents coming along to kind of float around, as I will be doing, and visiting with each of our groups as you kind of go your separate ways, whether it's in the courtyard or in the visitors room or in the different living rooms that they have set up at the Veterans Home. And we're only going to be there for part of our class period, but you're going to have veterans. You're going to have a veteran interview sheet, and this sheet is going to give you some ideas of some questions you can ask. Now, understand, our most important focus here is forming a relationship with our veterans. We're not going to start out by just peppering them with these questions. These questions will come, hopefully, in a more natural way as we get to know our veterans. Some days, you're only going to learn maybe the answers to 2 or 3 questions, maybe 1 or 2 questions. And some days, maybe none. We're just going to do the best we can. Now, these are ideas for questions. Your conversations with your veteran may go in a little bit of a different direction, and that's okay. That's what our note sheet is for. So I'm going to open this up. You're going to click right up in that corner. I'm going to take a look at our veterans interview sheet, and it says interview someone who has served or is currently serving. Now, for our purposes here, and I'm going to change this, but I've used this for other interview sessions, but you're going to be interviewing a veteran in our Veterans Home. So you're going to use the sheet to record your responses. And our first meeting or 2 will be to get to know your veterans. And then we will use our class online and in person to discuss how the process will work. And I've given you a little idea of what it will look like, but we'll get more into it when we start this. Our first meeting, this information will be used as part of your presentation. And our first meeting will be March 1st. So, if you take a look at some of the questions, they're very basic. In which branch of the military did you serve? What made you choose the branch in which you served? How old were you when you joined the military? Now, again, you may get some answers that, I don't remember, I'm not sure, and that's totally okay. Okay? Just move on. And again, we're going to be so familiar with these questions that you will know them, and you will, as we go through, you'll get an idea of the right time to ask these questions. Some of these are going to come up in your normal conversations that you have with your veteran. Sometimes they're going to share things that you think, oh, I really like that, I don't want to forget it, and that's what this section is for. These are notes. Use a space to add any additional notes about anything you think is important. Remember, the interview will be conducted a little at a time as you get to know your veteran. And don't worry if you can't fill in all the questions. This is just a guide. So I'm going to X out of here. And then we're going to go back here. And I want you to take a look at this link for the Maine Veterans Home. Now this is the Maine Veterans Home blog, and when you click on this, that's where it's going to take you. So when we look at this blog, we're going to see their blog usually focuses on Veteran of the Month. And for the month of July to August, it's Alfred Dana. He served in the Air Force in Bangor. And you can click this to read more, and you will see more information about Alfred Dana. And that changes all the time. So that gives you an idea of an actual interview that the Veterans Home has conducted with their veterans. So we're going to click out of that. And then if you take a look at this last square is our Veterans Project presentation template. So once we gather all of our information, or even some of it, we can start working on this piece right away, because the other thing we're going to be doing is taking some pictures. And these can be pictures that the veterans share with us. And, you know, that's something that we are gaining permission with before we even go there, so you won't need to worry about that. And pictures of you with your veteran by themselves, maybe some spots at the Veterans Home. So I'm going to pop this open so that we can take a look at this template. And you can see Veterans Project Presentation, American History 1. Now, this is where your presentation begins. Now, again, this is editable. So when you do this, you're going to go up at the top of this template and you're going to click, you can't see it here, but you're going to click File and make a copy just like we always do. And there's some directions. That slide will be deleted once you start your work. Now, this slide can be part of the presentation where you introduce yourself and you introduce your veteran. You can put their images or pictures right there of your veteran or you with your veteran. So as we go through these, you will see this is kind of a template that you can use to put your presentation together. Now, if you choose to create your own template, use your own background colors and styles, that's fine too. Okay, I'll help you work with that, and we've done work with that in our classroom anyway, so you're pretty familiar with how to use Google Slides. So that is your template for your project. So now that we've gone through all that, just very quickly, I want to take you to the second page of this. Once your project is finished and evaluated, I'm going to upload it. You're going to share it with me, which you would have already done, because I'm going to be taking a look at it. And you're going to go up here where it says Unit 3 Veterans Project, and you see where it says Presentation Blog. You're going to click that, and it's going to take you to another page. And this is where I'm going to upload your projects and your video links. Now, if you can see, when I talk about a video link, this is a video that you might create of you and your veteran, maybe working on one of the games, maybe working at the luncheon at the Veterans Home, or you can create an outside video about just different pictures you have of your veteran, or along with the written information that you have about your veteran. When you create that project, it's going to go right there, and you're going to put a little introduction with it. Now, when you look at this, it just looks like gray boxes, but when I actually put these up here, I'm also going to be able to put in your little introduction just below it. So everyone's will be right here, and all of you are going to have a chance to click on each other's projects and presentations and see them. So it'll be like a permanent little blog for our veterans projects. Now, I've thrown a lot at you, but don't worry, we're going to go through it one step at a time.